Hello and welcome to a new plugin groove video. My name is John Skippy Limcool. Welcome. Hey, I'm going to play for a minute with a new library, show you what kind of trouble we can get into. This is Skippy's Big Bad Beats. Just one of the grooves. There's over 290 grooves in the library. There's variations now that are cool. And then let's put it through Swift. That's the X version. The XX version takes that same thing. And I'm going to go down here to 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's add Daffy. 1, 2. Let's go down here to the very end. There's some bonus grooves that are really cool. Sticky shoes. We have all sorts of controls. Taking things up in pitch. Down. Pump house to all these different layers. So much you can do all in real time, and it's kind of set up already for this. So let's go over here to the standard library to the just bass splits up here, and actually what's playing, let's go bass split right here. You can jam with these right away. Let's say I want to add like some sort of a cool BPM pad to this too. So I'm going to add this by just right clicking and say add to Unify. As a new plugin in Unify and turn that down a little bit because it's a little loud. And all of this from Unify and Big Bad Beats. Nothing else being added. I could even set this up so all the drum grooves are just down on one note to trigger, and then I have the rest of the keyboard to play. Right now they're triggering when but I'll show you, we'll do a couple tricks at the end. I also want to show you at the end, there's a free bonus library coming of Vocoder driven drum grooves that will be included when Unify 1.2 comes out. End of September, October is what we're aiming for. But I want to give you an overview because this is actually two libraries in one. It's an insane number of patches. If you own the Stylus RMX version of this, there is stuff you can do, like I just showed you, of layering quickly in real time that you can't do anywhere else. There's other things with the real-time controls, the ability to load in your own MIDI file and have it play that with these maps and save it as a patch so you can make your own grooves. That kind of stuff makes this totally unique from what Stylus offers, which is also really cool. But this is in its own universe, so to speak. So the library consists of two different libraries. There's one called Loops. Let's go to Candlelight. And by clicking right here, I've loaded up I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. A lot of maps. If we go over here and look, we can see them all. Or you can just play the notes. Each note chromatically from middle C plays a different groove in the menu. So you can use these to do a song where you have breakdowns and simpler versions. Right? There's 34 grooves that follow these basic layouts. Now, as you can see, after the menu, I have every one of the grooves as a separate file. So if you want to change the tempo, you would go into the sampler but doing that changes the tempo, right? Because you're playing the sample faster or slower, it's going to slow it down. Right? Well, just so happens that's what the RX2 library comes out to be really handy for. Because you could go to 77 Sinbad and play that breakdown. And now it's based on the tempo in your sequencer. So if I want to make it back to the 77 like it's supposed to be, I go to the pitch. but it still stays in tempo. Because instead of being a loop like the loop version, the RX2 means that if I turn off the MIDI box MIDI file player, I now have the ability to play right? I have this whole menu of all the little tiny samples extracted from that using Propeller Head's Recycle. So it opens up all sorts of cool doors because you can, right? So if you look at this library, the RX2 version is unique in that in this version, which you don't have in the Stylus RMX version, you have these little X and XX marks behind a whole bunch of the loops. Each one of these 34 grooves has at least 2 that have been X'd. And some have been double X'd. There's no triple X in this library. We're a family organization over here. But check this out. So if you take the full mix to the X version, I've pulled out the swing, made it straight. And then the XX has cool processing effects. Let's go to another guy, the X and XX, so you can see. Here's one. So here's Velvet Pants. Here's the original. Got that shuffle swing feel. It's really cool. It was super in the year 2000. It's not so in now. So the X version and you can open up the sampler, easily get it to be. All sorts of cool vibes are available in this with the tools that we have in there. And then the XX is where I've really taken it to the extreme and done cool programming. And because this is Unify, like I showed you, I could go here, say load this into this Unify. And they work. And it's seamless. You can add them in real time. To make new grooves. They all follow the follow conventions. Right? So you got all this place to play with. If you reveal in Finder, this is rather crazy. In the RX2 library, there are 464 patches. In the loop library, there are 293 patches. 2 gigabytes of sample data, 5,000 plus samples. It's just a crazy amount of data. So it's really cool to have this available for Unify. If you don't own Unify, this is a real cool reason to add Unify to your arsenal. We let you load all of your plugins and play with them. So at the same time that's doing this, I could add all sorts of other plugins to this to embellish it. I'm just going to do this short little walkthrough like this. I'm going to pause it for a second to show you some of the cool features coming in 1.2. Okay, so hang on a second. So if I go to Groove Master at 87, Groove Master, and my tempo is at 118, it's playing at 118. I could change it to be 100 or 87 like it's supposed to be for this, right? What's also cool is because it's RX2, which means it's recycled to be separate pieces, I can go to the pitch, I can raise it. And it still plays at the same tempo. Or I could take it down in pitch. One cool tip, if you go down in pitch, shorten the decay. It'll give it a better defined shape than this, you know? Depends what you want. Cut off brings down the filters. Okay, so you have over 460 something patches here to play with. It's tons and tons of grooves. Really fun to have the ability to go from here's in-laws, here's the X version. The XX version has effects and it's easy to just right click and combine. And if I want this to be hip hop tempo, let's say even slower. I could go to Cloud City. Let's go to some sort of a BPM drum groove. They all work together. Now, I'm going to show you a couple tips. Certain ones are changing pitch. Go to MIDI box and turn off note to course and they won't change pitch. Right? And let's go to this other one. Is it changing pitch? It is. So go to Unify, MIDI box, turn off note to pitch for anything that has a MIDI box on. And this last one, does it have? It had it turned off because when I right clicked to add the groove, you'll see that there's an option right here that says no pitch shift. That's not letting that be turned on. So by using that, now all the sounds play across the keyboard. No changing in pitch anywhere I play. So at this point, I could go to, like I showed you earlier, I could go to the beat, just to the bass splits and say add this to Unify and other way to use this, because as it's set up this way, you have to play keys and then keep one of your fingers somewhere down. Otherwise, it's going to restart the beat. That's the one now. And maybe I don't want that to be the one. So what you can do, right click or control click on the top note of the drum groove elements and play like a low note on your keyboard. So that way, the rest of the keyboard, I'm going to play low C, right? Then go over here and change it to be MIDI in mono latch and turn that latch mode on. Because what this means is that it's going to play. And then go to the transport and set this to be like manual start and stop. So now wherever I play, and now you have your little jam station. And all you have to do is play low C, and the groove starts. And then and then play low C again when you're ready for it to stop. And then you can just save this as a patch, so it's set up that way. So when you call it up, you just off you go. Okay. So that type of rhythmic stuff is just so fun to have inside of Unify. And because I loaded that split as a single Unify, when I'm done, I can. I can go over here. Maybe I want to do bass and piano. Load that. And Option and click to get rid of the first one. And off you go. And then when you're done, I could go down to the pads. Even while it's playing and sustaining, I could add a pad. Turn it down so it's not too loud. It's that simple, my friends. It's just easy to build and be creative and interactive, and it's just whatever you want to do, you can do. So hopefully that shows you some ways to use Unify, and it just works. If it's re-triggering when you play notes, that's probably because on your transport page, a little play button right here, make sure that it's not set to one of these restart or quick start and stop, because now each time I play notes, it starts over. And as long as I hold something down, I get to determine where one is whenever I want. But maybe you don't want that. So set it to manual start and stop, and now it starts. And then it doesn't re-trigger until you stop it, to stop it. So that way it's running just on its own, separate from everybody else, okay? I'm gonna show you a couple of things that are unique and coming in Unify 1.2. These are not done, and this is not final. So I'm showing you something as in development. Here's Logic. One of the cool features that's coming is that inside of MIDI box, if you want to have this in an editable form, not to eat, but to edit, you can click and drag to drag the MIDI file into your sequencer. And now all you have to do is turn off MIDI box, and now it's playing from whatever your tempo is in your sequencer is. Right? Which means you can quantize it, you can reprogram it, you can do whatever you want with it. It's in this form where you have the notes on the keys, so you can make your own patterns and do anything you want, or use this and just change the notes around and you're making new patterns. So that's a super cool feature that's coming to MIDI box. The last thing I want to show you is what's going to be coming in the third bonus library that will be coming with Big Bad Beats when Unify 1.2 ships. And that's a vocoder based library. Whether you know it or not, since the beginning, inside of the Unify setup, we've always had a vocoder. And it's got the ability to have, who's the modulator, who's the carrier, you could choose between the two, all that kind of stuff. There's cool parameters here. It's never been able to be used effectively because we didn't have the ability to configure and get the audio to go from something that's it's not there. Well, 1.2, we are adding a new effect. It is over here. I have to show it this way at the moment. Over here in built-in, it's called Combo Box. And what Combo Box does, it looks simple enough, right? It lets you configure from MIDI input to MIDI output, audio input to audio output. You might go like, what's so big about that? But check this out. You right click, you can choose any of your plugins. And you can say, I want Serum, and I want Wave Razor, and I want to have Zebra, and I want to configure those in some cool way so that MIDI is coming into these guys and then being routed to other things, right? So you can do stuff like this and save it as a setup. So we have used this to make vocoder setups. So these are just early tests. This is not done. We're still working on this. But here's one configuration where we have MIDI box playing a drum groove for one of the drum kits from Big Bad Beats. That's the modulator. And the carrier is the unison sawtooth being fed into the carrier side. And now And you can open the vocoder. Right? We have some other couple examples of some fun stuff. This is one where there's actually a pad that's being fed down to the stereo inputs, as well as the drum groove, as well as the vocoder. So you're getting all three mixed. And the drum groove is going through noise box, which is doing high pass filtering. So all sorts of things are going to be possible with Combo Box. It lets your whole plugin collection that you own be put into kind of a modular kind of environment. So very exciting. So that is it. We're working on it. It's not out yet, but we hope to have that out in October. And so there you go. Big Bad Beats. Over 750 drum patterns and patches, both in wave loop format as well as RX2 format, so they'll follow tempo. It's easy to layer them and stack them, do new grooves all day long, all night long for new songs. So it should feed your inspiration on the rhythm front for a good long time. And it plays well with, you can go to, check this out. Let's go to Cloud City. Let's get one of the cool world percussion grooves, like say like a Get Down. Go to Big Bad Beats. Let's turn these down just a little bit. Let's go over here, add this. Back to Cloud City. Let's add a chaos kit. So they all work together. Beautiful. Good times. Okay. So get your groove on, have fun, enjoy all the groove elements and stuff. It's really fun to have all these available in our plugin. So thanks for your support. Hope this helped give you some inspiration and some ideas, and we'll see you in the next video. Okay? Bye.